What if I told you that the symptoms you're trying to escape, your numbness, your racing thoughts, your disconnection, aren't signs that you're broken, but warnings your mind sends when healing quietly collapses from within? You don't even notice it at first, because healing doesn't fail with a bang. It fails in slow drips, like a leaking faucet of memory and repression, until your inner world floods. You think you're fine because you're functioning. But functionality is just a clever mask for spiritual suffocation. When your laughter feels hollow, your goals feel like obligations, and rest never truly feels like rest. That's not growth. That's your psyche screaming in silence. Your dreams grow louder, more disturbing. Your body feels heavier. You begin to forget joy, but remember shame in high definition. And deep inside, something watches and whispers, "This isn't recovery. This is avoidance dressed up as healing." Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The warning your mind sends doesn't come through pain. It comes through dullness. It's the apathy that replaces fear, the silence after the storm that still feels wrong. You think you're healing because the tears stopped, but your nervous system isn't calm. It's frozen. You're not grounded. You're dissociating. You're not present. You're surviving in slow motion, exiled from your own emotions. That toxic positivity you repeat, "I'm strong, I'm better now," has become a lullaby that puts your pain to sleep instead of setting it free. But what doesn't transform haunts. Watch your irritability, your constant need to control, your fear of stillness. These are trauma's fingerprints. You were never taught that healing is chaotic, that it's messy, full of grief and regression. So when your mind replays the same old arguments, when rest makes you anxious, when intimacy feels threatening though you crave connection, that's not failure. That's your subconscious staging an intervention. And when healing fails, your body becomes the battleground. Your back pain, your insomnia, your panic attacks, they're not random. Somatic psychology proves it. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. You don't speak of what happened, but your immune system never forgot. You chase productivity because stillness brings the ghosts. You cling to distractions because silence reveals the buried. You're exhausted not from doing too much, but from suppressing what aches to be felt. That pounding in your chest isn't anxiety. It's a warning, a flare from the part of you left behind in the wreckage. You might think you're getting over it, but suppression is not salvation. Healing fails when you try to escape the fire without walking through the smoke. You read the books, you meditate, you go to therapy, but still feel hunted in your dreams. Because healing isn't something you do, it's something you allow. It's not self-improvement, it's self-return. And some part of you already knows the difference. That voice inside you, the one you've called too sensitive or too much, is the only part that hasn't lied. You're afraid to go back into the wound, but what you don't see is that the wound is already running the show. You don't need to dig deeper. You need to stop running. The real warning your mind gives is this. When you keep healing without feeling, you become emotionally fluent but soul-starved. You speak the language of trauma but avoid the surrender. You can explain your triggers but still live by their rules. You perform healing to avoid transformation. You set boundaries but can't let anyone in. Your mind speaks in patterns: who you date, what you chase, the cycles you repeat. They're not coincidences, they're coordinates. maps showing where you stopped doing the work. If you feel stuck, you're not failing. You're standing at the door of the story you refuse to reread. And that door is loud. It creaks open at 3 a.m. It speaks through your self-sabotage. It cries out through your procrastination. Because healing doesn't whisper, it roars. And when you ignore it, it doesn't vanish. It explodes. So now ask yourself, are you healing, or are you hiding in the costume of who you think you should be by now? Because the truth is, your mind will let you play healed, but your soul won't. Your soul wants integration, not image, completion, not coping. And if you don't listen, the warnings will only grow louder. One day, the cost of not feeling will outweigh your ability to numb. So let the breakdown come. Let the memories surface. Let the grief rise. Not because it's poetic, but because it's the only way out. Not healing has a cost, and your mind knows it. That's why it whispers. That's why it unsettles. That's why it haunts your quietest moments. It's not here to ruin your life. It's here to return you to it. Now the choice is yours. Keep patching pain with performance, or finally answer the warning that's been echoing through your nervous system all along. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to support the channel and get more helpful videos. See you next time.